At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Your data is like gold to hackers, and they'll sell it to the highest bidder. Are you protected? McAfee helps shield you, blocking suspicious texts, malicious emails, and fraudulent websites. McAfee Secure VPN lets you browse safely, and its AI-powered text scam detector spots threats instantly. You'll also get up to $2 million of award-winning antivirus and identity theft protection, all for just $39.99 for your first year. Visit McAfee.com. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
The Portland Trail Blazers have won 4 out of 5 games. Kyrie Irving is out for Dallas, which impacts the play-in race. And Shaedon, Sharpe and Deni Avdija are going bonkers for the Blazers. All that and more on the Blazer Focus podcast. I am Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian and OregonLive, and I'm joined by Craig Birnbach. Craig, you got a bone to pick real quick?
I'm just going to check I'm going to pull the curtain back. Pull the curtain back.
Behind the scenes.
The behind the scenes, we do a little rundown. We share a rundown. Sometimes, most of the times, Aaron does it first, and then I add things. All I'm saying is, Aaron's 5 main topics, none of them mentioned Deni obvious in there. The man had a 30-point triple-double, and he just didn't want to he didn't want to bring it to the people. And it's all because I have been saying since the summer that Deni, the best move the Blazers made in Joe Cronin was getting Deni. And then I've been saying since like month 1 that the best player on the team has been Deni. And for a while.
Month 1? Do you mean January?
I've been on now. In the beginning, there might have been some sarcasm in there. I might not have been serious yet, but I've been serious. Aaron will be sitting at the game, and he'll just get a little ping, and he'll just say,
"This is my
Deni."
reaction too." Jesus, it's Craig.
And he knows it's going to say, Deni, best player on the floor.
Deni, MVP of the league, blah, blah, blah.
I never said that. I just say best player on the Blazers. Best Jewish player in the NBA. I'll say that.
Excuse me.
But I'm just saying, like, he didn't put in the rundown. And I know it just was to raise my blood pressure just a little bit.
I did the rundown exactly 4 minutes before you logged in. And how many Deni headlines did I have this week?
Yeah,
we became Avdija live the last week, man. Come on. I've been cranking out Deni headlines.
I did say to Aaron, I very much enjoyed having Deni share a headline with Will Chamberlain.
And Magic Johnson.
I enjoyed that.
And Magic Johnson.
That's it.
Hold on a sec. Let me go through these real quick. This is all Trailblazers. Deni Avdija joins list that includes Magic Johnson and Wilt Chamberlain.
That's awesome.
Avdija unable to enjoy career night following loss. Avdija does something not accomplished since Lillard. Avdija available for Portland. Come on, I was cranking out the Deni headlines.
That one does not count. That last one
that counts. I put his name in the headline. It counts.
Available.
That's breaking news.
How long was that article?
It was exactly maybe 4 paragraphs, but I still got him in the headline. Anyway, all right.
It was an amazing performance. And his step back was a good shot.
It was
that
fun.
He missed at the end of the game that could have tied the game. And it was a good shot.
It would have won the game. It would have given the lead. Right? It would have given the lead with 4 or 5 seconds left.
But either way, so that was a fantastic performance. I think it was I honestly think that's the best game of any Blazer. I don't think that's saying.
It's the first
too much
triple-double for the Blazers since Lillard had 2 in February and March of 2023, was last season here. And it's only the 4th in Blazers history that was a 30-point triple-double. And Dame has 2. I'm not sure who the other person was. It might have been Clyde, I would imagine, maybe, something like that. The Blazers didn't provide that information. And then it came out that it's one of 6 ever with just 13 shots, which he pulled off because, one, he shot well in the 13, but he had 13 for 13 free throws. So that put him up there with De'Aaron Fox has done it. Jokic has done it 3 times, which doesn't surprise me at all. Magic, Wilt Chamberlain, Deni, and who was the other one? Oh my God. There's 6. Deni, Jokic, Magic, Chamberlain, De'Aaron Fox. Oh my God, who was the other one? Do you remember?
No. If you didn't list the other ones.
One of the problems with posting so many things, which I've been doing, like I had 8 posts yesterday, and I'm getting old, is that, wait, what's your name again? Is that I will write something and literally be like, what was that stat again? Because it's all just blank.
Or you quote yourself. Like, I think I read that somewhere. No, you wrote that. Oh, yeah, that's right. I wrote that. That's right. That's what I meant. My wife will say that. I'm like, I think I heard this somewhere. She's like, no, you said that without anything to back it up. I'm like, oh, well, that's how we get to where we are in this country.
You also know you've crossed over a certain age threshold when you retell the same story to someone you've already told them, because you told it maybe to multiple people, you've forgotten who you told it to. Anyway, all right, enough of my ageism right now. I'm offended.
But anyway, it was a great performance. I think it's the best. I mean, Sharpe at 36 in a game was great recently, but I think a 30-point triple-double when you only take 13 shots.
On 13 shots is insane. It's insane.
Even though they didn't win.
Right. Okay, so now I was going to wait to do a podcast for Thursday, but the news broke today on Tuesday that Kyrie Irving is out for the season. He injured his knee during a blowout loss to Sacramento on Monday night. This is significant, of course, because the reeling Dallas Mavericks have now lost 4 out of 5. They've been impacted by the loss of Anthony Davis, who should come back relatively soon, and Daniel Gafford. But now losing Kyrie, they become infinitely catchable for the Blazers, who trailed them by 4 games. The Blazers are in 12th, a half game behind Phoenix, which is at 11. And there's Dallas at 10. Dallas at one point was 7, I think, and rising, and then the injuries hit, and now they're down at 10. So I personally did not feel the Blazers were going to be able to catch Sacramento when I was assuming that Dallas would stay in the 6, 7, 8 range. And then you had to catch Sacramento, which at one point was up 5 and now is up 4. No, now it's still at 5, sorry, because the Blazers schedule was wicked. But the Blazers schedule might not matter as much now because Dallas could just go into a free fall, which then doesn't matter if you lose to Boston, lose to OKC, and lose to Cleveland again, et cetera, because Dallas is going to be losing a ton of games and fall to you. And Phoenix has lost, I think, 11 of 14 dating back to when they lost 2 in Portland. So Phoenix is an absolute mess, and you trail them by a half a game. So with all that said, Craig, should I be planning to get credentials for a play-in?
The thing that's nuts is that you just might survive to be there. Like, you know what I mean? You're not going to – your record's still going to stink. You're going to lose all those games, but no one else is trying to win. Like Dallas, it's an ACL. Like, it's devastating.
Well, you think Dallas is going to pull the plug or just try and still get back Davis, get back Gafford and try and make a run? Or do they just say screw it?
I think they will have to try to make a run, and I still think they're going to finish above the Blazers because – when Davis gets back, they're 32-30, and the Blazers, are 28-34 and about to lose a bunch of games. So that's still a significant 4 games and 20 left. That's hard if you're not good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Dallas
but it's not hard if the other team goes. Yeah, but it's not hard if the other team goes 7-13, which is possible.
Oh, definitely possible.
Yeah.
But I also think that the Blazers they'd have to, win. They'd have to win more than they lose. And I don't see that happen.
Okay, but you say that. Well, I mean, there's just so many different ways to look at this. They've won what now?
But it does change everything because before that,
15 of 20 they've won? They won 15 of 20, is that right?
They've been, yes, and 10 of 11, all that greatness. But they just beat teams now. Every team they just beat is trying to lose.
Exactly. And
Brooklyn doesn't want to win. The Sixers don't want to win. Charlotte, Washington, they don't want to win. So that's the thing. The teams that – now Cleveland tried to lose with what they had by not playing their best player for rest. When they sit down to Mitchell, they play great. The Blazers play great, and they lost to a team that is ridiculous right now, but that's not going to, at some point in time, teams need to beat you for standings and everything like that. Cavs took an educated risk, a calculated risk. Let's sit Donovan Mitchell against the Blazers. We'll still win at home because we're 50-10 and they're not. And it almost bit them. Like, I was wondering, at halftime, if they were just going to go see if they could get him in. You'd be like, oh, our bad.
Donovan, can you suit up, bro?
We made a little bit of a mistake. So, but yeah, I mean, and the Blazers are trying to win as much as some of their fans do not want them to. They are clearly trying to win every game. And they don't stink. They don't stink. They're just like, they're bad, but they're not terrible.
Okay, so here's the reality check with the Blazers. I saw someone the other day tweeting they might be a top 10 team, and someone else was saying, if we get in, maybe we could upset OKC. And,
oh, my God, stop talking out loud.
Right, I'm just saying, it's fans are fans. Fans are going to be fans, God bless them. We all are delusional with our teams at some point. All right, so here's the reality check, though. The Blazers have won, as I just said, 5 out of 6. 3 of those wins came against the 3 worst teams in the league: Charlotte, Utah, Washington, right? Then you beat a Nets team, which actually is playing hard, and they're still in the hunt for a play-in in the East, but they're 15 games under. Well, the franchise was trying to lose. The players aren't cooperating. They need a master taker.
And they've been losing like crazy lately.
Well, right. I'm just saying, they're bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying they at least had something to play for, because the players know they can still get in the play-in. Because it's like the Nets and the Bulls are jockeying for who's going to be worse, and not leaving the other team to get into the play-in as of right now, because Philly's going to fall. Then you beat Philly without Embiid, who's out for the season, and without Paul George, and without Kelly Oubre, right? And then the Utah game, even they're missing their 4 best players.
Starters.
Right. So all 5 of those victories, all they mean is that the Blazers took care of business against really, really bad teams, and in some cases where they didn't even have their best players. And even the game you almost won at Cleveland didn't have its best player. But I'm not going to take that win away from them, because
they play great.
Cleveland's still good without Donovan. Cleveland without Donovan is still a postseason team. You were on the road. You played well. You deserve to have a chance to win that game. So I give them credit for that, obviously. But now the reality check is coming, right? You've got Boston tomorrow, Oklahoma City on Friday. Then you come home for a surging Detroit team, which to me that's a winnable game, of course. But then you go to Golden State. Huh?
But it won't.
Detroit,
I don't think it will be. Detroit's so...
I said it's winnable. I didn't say it's...
but probably not.
Boston and OKC, you look at it and go, there's no way. Well, okay, I'm not going to sit here and say they can't beat Detroit at home and they almost beat Cleveland on the road.
That's fine.
Okay, so Detroit's infinite win. Then you're going to go to Golden State, which is won 8 out of 10. And Curry... Right, Curry and Butler are looking really good together, right? And then you come back home for 7. Now you got Toronto in there, and you got Washington, I think, again. No, not Washington.
You have Washington. Washington on the 17th.
I thought they already played. Oh, yeah, Washington. Okay, so those 2 should be wins.
Win that
right,
game.
Those 2, right. But then you also got the Knicks in there. You got Boston again. You got Cleveland and Denver. And then there's one other good team, isn't there?
Toronto, but they're, but
Memphis.
Easy.
No.
Memphis, yeah.
Right. It's New York, Memphis, Denver, Boston, Cleveland.
And Toronto.
You should beat Toronto.
No, I know, but that's in there, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, okay. Yeah, Toronto and the other team I mentioned are Washington are the beatable ones. The other 5 are going to be tough. But you're home. You might be able to pull out something. Who knows Morant might sit, right? Jokic could sit, Tatum could sit, something could happen, and you could pull out whatever. But the bottom line is that is just a tough schedule. And so I came into this stretch thinking out of these next 10 games, they'd be lucky to win 4. And could easily just win 2. And so that, to me, was going to bury them, just like they almost got buried after a 10 and 11 run when they went to Minnesota, Denver twice, and then came home for the Lakers after the break and lost those 4. The Blazers have not defeated a team that currently has a winning record since February 6th when they beat Sacramento at home. That's a month ago. Now, they haven't played a ton of winning teams since, but they haven't beaten any of them. So it's still a daunting task for them. But the thing that's good for them now, though, is that Phoenix stinks and Dallas is likely to just sink like a rock. So even if the Blazers go 4 and 6 or 4-7 or whatever the next 11, Dallas could go, right, 2-9 over their next 11, and you make up 2 games. So I think they have a chance, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think that basically what I'm saying is you might survive to get there because the other teams are so much worse. I just can't imagine Dallas going from 32-20 and losing, 5 more games than the Blazers do.
Without Kyrie, and if Davis is not motivated.
If Davis can't come back at all.
But here's the thing: if you're Dallas,
it's totally possible. It's totally possible. And I haven't looked at their schedule. And
but if Phoenix, you're Dallas,
Phoenix shouldn't stink this bad. Like as bad. I mean, I don't care. You still got 3.
They don't play well together. It's a horrible mix.
I know, but like the Blazers don't have anything close to that.
Okay, they thumped them twice here. And they're not out there losing 11 out of 14.
I'm not the only one to not understand why this team stinks.
So it's obvious why they stink. You don't have a true point guard, and you don't have a big man. It doesn't matter what the other 3 guys are if you don't have anyone doing their job at those 2 spots. Them not having basically giving away.
With Kevin Durant, it kind of does.
But Kevin Durant's 36.
I know. And
look, Beal's one-dimensional.
You're right. They stink. Obviously, you're right. Everything you're saying is right.
26-year-old Durant. This is 36-year-old Durant. He can't carry a team anymore.
I mean, obviously, you're right. Well, I mean, I got nothing. It's still shocking to me that you can have Booker, Beal, and Durant and be awful.
But you have 3 scores. Which one of those guys is your defensive stopper? Which one of those guys is setting the table? Which one of those guys is rim protecting? Which one? Not having the fact that they gave away Kamara and Ayton for a guy they got rid of in Nurkic and 2 other guys they got rid of in Johnson and Nasir Little is going to go down as one of the worst deals they've ever made for that franchise. Like, if they had those 2 right now, completely different story. Could you imagine flopping those 2 in the starting lineup with Durant, Booker, and Beal? Now that's a scary proposition. Because now you have a defensive stopper, and now you have an offensive center who can at least
have a point
be
guard,
athletic.
But you're right.
Right, but you can probably manufacture around that if you at least have.
We could do it right. This could be a good Suns podcast right now.
Oh, I can't imagine what's going on. I can't imagine what's going on in Phoenix right now. They have to be just losing their minds. That whole thing backfired. It looked good for them at first because you thought Nurkic was going to be productive, but he's just fallen off the map. But anyway,
well, that was the epitome of addition by subtraction. That's what they thought they were doing.
Right, exactly.
It was odd because the guy they brought in was a guy that the Blazers were thinking was addition, through subtraction. So now they got rid of the bigger contract, so they got that. But yes, it definitely didn't work out. But yeah, it's amazing that the Blazers might back in basically to a play-in. And to me, it's devastating because then if you do win in the play-in, you lose your first round pick completely, and that's
to the Bulls, baby,
which is just
Let's
awful.
Go Blazers! Just kidding.
It's just awful. If that happens, like it's awful.
It's not going to happen. They're not going to win 2 games in the play. No way. They're not going to beat Minnesota and the Clippers or Minnesota and Golden State. I don't believe they're going to do that.
I don't either.
I thought they were also headed for Tankville a month ago. So
because that should have been what they did. Probably, it should have been what they did. At this point in time, you might as well root like heck for the play-in because why not? Why not? Like, what's the other option? You can't get, like you said last podcast, you can't get low enough now. You just can't. The ping pong balls are going to say what they say if you keep your pick. And it's not going to be that big a difference. So you might as well go for it. But it stinks. Like this is what happens when you don't have direction. And this is when the outside people, like I like listening. I listened to Bill Golliver the other day. Ben Golliver. I don't know who Bill is. Ben Golliver, former Blazers Edge person, and now big time NBA writer and a Blazer fan. Like I think at his heart, maybe not anymore, but at his heart.
Right.
And his outside in. Like he was willing to say the things that even you and I every once in a while, like, well, maybe this, like, he's like, where's the direction? What are you doing? You can't be in this in between. Being in between is the worst thing possible for a franchise. And here's what's funny. I was listening to local hosts. They were doing a good job. This is not, but they're like, yeah, all fans want is a team now. It's like, they don't even care if they're champion level. Like, they don't even need to think that they have a chance to win a championship. They just wanted to be a good team that's playing in the playoffs and maybe I'm like, you had that for a decade, and you complained about it. And then the owner of your franchise, through her GM, decided that wasn't enough. You were going to throw that all away to start from scratch and because you didn't want to be in the in-between. And now people are like, if we could just be good. And I agree with that. I would say this. I agree with it is way better to have 10 years where if things go the right way, I mean, they were in the Western Conference Finals, and sometimes things go the right way and you can win a title or get there. It's really hard to win a championship. I am much happier as a Knicks fan right now. People are saying the Knicks they're not at the elite level yet. I'm like, I'm cool because you know it sucked.
Dude, they're fourth in the NBA. That's pretty elite.
I know that. I'm very happy, but I'm just saying they've lost to Boston. Crushes them. You know, when they play Cleveland, crushed them. They're not right now. They'd have to surprise people to win an NBA title because of how they've played against what we would consider the favorites. But if you hang around, sometimes it happens. And you could just make that one move. I mean, Dirk Nowitzki hung around forever, and then he got one.
And they did around Dirk what Dame wanted done around him. They went out and they didn't get another marquee star, right? They got guys who used to be stars.
And it was the right year. And it was the right year.
Role players. They were stars turned role players, like Jason Kidd, former All-Star. Sean Marion, former All-Star. Tyson Chandler, who had been an All-Star and was a rim protector extraordinaire, who worked perfectly right next to Dirk, right? Dirk doesn't need a scoring center. He needs someone to play defense. And that's what Tyson Chandler was. And then didn't they have Jason Terry? And was Peja Stojakovic on that team? I think he was on that team coming off the bench, dropping threes.
But Terry was instant offense, and it just worked. It just happens. Milwaukee,
right, it worked perfect. It was a perfect mix, and that's what Dame wanted. So, but they didn't want to do that for Dame. So now they went into lottery. Now you're just saying fans want to be just respectable again. Well, they're not respectable. They're just at least fun right now. But they're going to get either not make the plan or get torched in the plan. But the problem is, as you alluded to, the end result is you effed up a shot at Cooper Flagg, more than likely, because at the end of the day, we talked about this last podcast, you put your coach in a no-win situation where he wasn't going to be in line with tanking because he had to win to either save his job here or get a job elsewhere.
Somewhere else.
The whole thing's just counterproductive. And Chauncey Billups has done what he's supposed to do. He has overachieved. He has overachieved completely. And if they don't bring him back, it's an indictment on all the above. Because if you don't bring this guy back after he's overachieved and ruined your shot at Cooper Flagg, then what the hell were you doing letting him ruin your shot at Cooper Flagg? You should have fired him last spring or fired him during the middle of the season or gone to him and given him an extension and say, okay, let's back this up a little bit because we want a shot at Cooper Flagg. They did none of that. So I think it's hilarious, to be honest with you, because it's all kind of the big picture's falling to pieces while this season is turning into something more exciting.
And let's not forget, at the deadline, you did nothing. So you kept Robert Williams, who barely plays.
They had no choice.
You could have moved them out of the way and tanked.
No one was. I mean,
that's fine. But that's also your fault that you couldn't move anybody.
True.
That you couldn't move anybody.
The bigger picture wasn't what they thought it was going to be.
Your big picture now has Jeremy Grant still on your roster, not playing. It has Ayton on your roster, not playing. It has Williams on your roster, not really playing. You have Simons, who won a game for you last night, and would scoot behind him. So you currently, the way you're going at it would be with a full roster, with a coach who wants to win, all three of your first-round draft picks, of your top 10 picks, would not be starting. They're only starting because of injuries, and that's crazy.
And none of them are all going to be all rookie. I don't think Klingon would be all rookie. So you had the seventh pick, third, and seventh, and none of them were going to be all rookie, which is not great. Okay, real quick though. So you mentioned about you might as well go for it. We talked about that a little bit last week. So right now they're at the 10th worst record. Right, 10th comes with oh my goodness, 3% chance, I think it is.
It's not good.
I think it's a 3% chance to get the top pick, which is what Atlanta had last year when they got it, I think, from 10th, right? So the big problem for them, though, is that they lead number 9, San Antonio, by 3 games now. And San Antonio just lost Wemby for the season. So they're going to be in free fall. They're 3-7 in their last 10. So even if you decide to tank right now, you're not going to tank worse than them. The Bulls have passed them by, and they lead the Bulls now by 4. And the Bulls are in a free fall. They've lost 8-10. Brooklyn obviously just beat, and all these other teams, Philadelphia, Toronto's bad, Pelicans are bad, blah, blah, blah. So the only thing you could do to catch any of them is not win a game the rest of the season. You might be able to catch some of them. And of course, that's not going to happen. So worst case scenario, you get up and you get into the play-in and you still end up 12th, which is going to be like a 1 or 2% shot, which is not very good. So right now 10 is 3%, 11 is 1.8, 12 is 1.7. So it's not really that big a difference. So yes, you might as well go for it.
You might as well.
And just hope, that hey, we saw what happened with Odin, right? They jumped in number 1. We've seen teams jump from bad positioning into the top 3 before. So
Hawks,
maybe you get rewarded and you get lucky. Great. If that happens, then it's all rainbows and sunshine. But as of right now, the only thing you got going for you is to complete this run and try and get to the play-in.
Yeah, because at least then maybe you sell some tickets. Maybe a sponsor cares. Your fans get some joy.
And you give your young guys the experience of a playoff chase and playoff atmosphere, which would be, it's good for their growth. But at the end of the day, man, we all know what's going to happen, dude. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. I'm a travel to the play-in game. And if they come home, they won't play one at home. But, I'll go to 1, I'll go to 2. They make the playoffs, get swept by Oklahoma City. Hey, it'll still be fun and exciting because they'd be back in the playoffs. And then you go in the offseason and it's now what? Now what? What do we do? How do we upgrade? We blew our chance of getting a high pick, right? Are we going to get a free agent to come here? No. Are we going to pull off a big trade to get someone to come here? No, we couldn't do it when we tried to help Dame. Now we're going to do it now. You're going to trade the very assets you wouldn't give up to help Dame to go out and get a alleged star who's going to actually want to be here to play with a team that doesn't have the players you traded to get him.
And as right now, you're not even seeing. I mean, you're seeing Sharpe for a couple games. Let's see how it goes, but he still can't shoot.
Hey, lay off my boy.
No, I'm just saying, he still can't shoot from 3. He's got some moments.
He was 1 for 7 last night, but he's shooting better.
Terrible. That's terrible. Even a great game at 25, but he didn't shoot well. Everyone scores 20 when you score 100.
Terrible.
Especially against teams that don't want to play defense.
Don't be calling my boy terrible. I just got
I'm just saying his shooting was terrible.
I just got a new Shaedon Sharpe autographed rookie card in the mail.
I like Shaedon Sharpe. Okay? I'm hoping. And Scoot, everyone went nuts for Scoot, and he played better. But last night, he was really bad. And
he's going to have off nights.
But I'm just saying, at this point, year number 2, toward the back end of the season, on a team that's got no direction going forward as far as who our stars are, you want them. I get it now. People are just play him. Is Simons part of the future? How can he be if Scoot's part of the future? It's just,
Okay, but hear me out on this. If you go into the offseason knowing that the way you played in the second half could be the way you start next season. So then when you get to the midway point, like this year, they were 13-28 at the midway point, right? If you get to the midpoint next season and in 41 games, you're 22-19, you're going to do that in part because of Simons. So if you move him, now you're not going to be as good, but are you going to be bad enough to get into the lottery to help yourself, to get high in the lottery to help yourself? Or are you just going to still be in that little, place where you just are going to be maybe 500 if that, or less than that without Simons? So it could be that the situation is that you have to keep Simons because he's one of your best players and you're not going to be able to go out and get someone better than him.
Yeah, that's, to me, kind of a disaster. I mean, then why'd you pick Scoot? You can't explain it. You didn't pick Scoot. You told me Scoot was going to change my franchise. So much so that I had to just say, Dame, sorry, buddy, we're going to draft your replacement now. Oh, but wait, didn't you draft my replacement already because Simons is there? Yeah, no, but we don't think he's your replacement. Even though we like him a lot and we told you he was going to help you, but now we're going to draft the replacement because he's going to transform this franchise.
What if the Blazers had drafted Amin Thompson, drafted Kamara, still made the trade for Ayton? That's the craziest thing for me is that there's a hindsight, and I'm not blaming Cronin necessarily for this at all. Hindsight's 2020, right? We're all geniuses looking back. We all would have picked Jordan, right? I'm just saying, imagine if they would have given Dame length and defensive-minded players, which is what he had in 19. That's what he had in 19. That's why they got to the West Finals, because they had a top 10 rated. I think they were top 10 in defensive rating that year. Yep. At least close to the top 10, because you had Aminu and Harkless, Batum, and Turner, all 6'7" or taller, lengthy, who bought into playing defense around Dame and CJ scoring. And they also made up for the fact that Cantor can't defend me. So if you put that kind of team around Dame, you're in the playoffs. You're not going to win the championship, but you're in the playoffs.
But you shouldn't trade. Look, my point is, my point is the pathway was there to do things around Dame. You chose to do the absolute worst thing possible, which was draft a player at his position who's 19. To go to your point. So now here we are in a situation, and it's weird because I'll be honest with you. Professionally, the last 6 weeks since the streak began has been so much more fun. Of course. Watching the game's been great. I posted 8 things yesterday. It's just so many things. Oh my God. Kamara just got named Defensive Player of the Month. Yeah. Right? There's something else that get jacked up about and write about. So it's just been far more interesting. Plus, I love the idea of chasing standings and the whole journey of a season in that frame. But looking long term, we agree, man. It's the best thing to have done was to be in that mix to get a top 3 pick in this draft. Period. That's what you set up. And every Blazer fan wants you to understand this. No matter how you feel about the players, how you feel about the team, the franchise fully believed that it didn't matter what they did. They were going to be in the mix for a top 3 pick. I made the argument to numerous people. I said, last year you won 21 games with all those injuries. You said it. And tanking, I give you that. Right? There's no way if you're healthy and if anyone takes the lead, you can't win around 30. And I was told, we don't know, man. That's, our shooting, blah, blah, blah. We don't, no. And then you're on track to do what you thought you were going to do. And then you put pressure on your head coach. And now that's gone. And so now it's fun to cover. But looking ahead, I'm like, they're screwed long term because you need that. You still don't have that dude. You don't have a dude. Your dude is Kamal. Your 2 dudes that I would say that you feel really good about are Deni and Kamara. Great role players, not dudes. You know me, I still believe in Deni. And you still hoping. But I have to say this. Not and I don't like giving you credit. He's going to be an all-star? He's going to be all-NBA? Deni? No. Okay. But there you go. You need a dude. You need that guy. You need two of course, guys. Yeah, he's not a dude. But at least you got 2 guys that you're like, those are starters on a winning team. Yeah. With the right talent, the right dudes around them. Yeah. You did say this though, and I have to give you credit, which I hate doing because you don't need it. But you did say it many times that this team could win more games if they played Grant and Simons and Ayton and other guys stepped up. You said it, and I still was like, first of all, I didn't think they'd do it because I thought that they had committed to a strategy and that they were all on the same page. So I was like, well, why would they do that? That's stupid. Right. Exactly. But you said it, and I didn't believe it. I said, no, they're still going to be one of the worst teams. But it's just math, though. It's math. You won 21 last year, but also everything going wrong. Not being on the same page or changing your strategy based on a very, like something that shouldn't change your strategy. No. Like, you shouldn't be like, oh, now the fans are upset. Like, what'd you think? Like, did you think they were going to be happy to stink for another year?
I think here's the thing. I think the fans would have been fine with stinking if the players you drafted were balling out.
Yep.
Like when Shea was in OKC and they were winning 20-something games, we all knew that kid. We're like, that kid's coming.
Yep.
Right? That kid's coming, man. You can't and Scoot's been playing better, don't get me wrong, and Shea
even Detroit with Cunningham.
Right. Well, yeah. He took some time, and these two might, but they're not demonstrating.
Yeah.
Oh my God, these guys are definitely going to be stars. They're like, oh, they're playing better. They potentially could be pretty darn good.
Chauncey said it. They still don't have an alpha.
Yeah,
he said it last year. There's no alpha on this team because he knows Simon's not an alpha.
Right.
He's like an alpha on the worst, on a bad team that's not trying to do much. So he's kind of like last night he was an alpha.
Two different NBA people have told me that they think Simon's, based on he's been in the league 7 years. This season has been a down season for him, and it shouldn't be. This should be where he starts to really take over and start getting into his stride. But and I don't buy this yet. I'm not going to go here yet. But I've been told this by a couple of people in the NBA that they see him as a sixth man on a good team. That's sort of where
that feels right.
If he's on a good team that's trying to contend, he's coming off the bench and giving you that offensive spark. He's not starting because he's a shoot first combo guard, right? So if you don't want that on your team if you're contending, because if you're contending, you have 2 or 3 guys better than him. You don't want him coming around jacking up shots, right? No one wants that. So he has to be a distributor, which he's not, and he's not an elite defender. So he comes off the bench and gets his shots when the stars are out.
Jason Terry.
Someone else mentioned Lou Williams.
Oh God, you took it to another level though. Like now,
but that's go back kind of the comp, isn't it?
Let's go to the microwave and bring Vinny Johnson in the conversation. So
on a contending team, that's sort of what Ant is. And so, but right now, he's probably your best player.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. A guy could score. You can't depend on him to do the other stuff. He's undersized for a guy that
is not a 2-point guard.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But imagine if you're one of these 50-win teams and you can bring him off the bench for 26 nights and he gets a heater going, and in those 26 minutes he scores 22 points, right? That's just killer for you. And if he struggles, then it doesn't matter because he's not one of your top 3 guys.
Yeah, you look at so many teams. You can just say that about, like, if the Lakers had him, right? They needed a guy when they sit LeBron and Doncic. If the Warriors always want a guy like that. When Steph's down, just you shoot. And, they want Buddy Hield to kind of be that in a way. And he is some nights and he is in others. But yeah, there's a ton. I mean, imagine Denver when they sit Murray.
Yeah.
And
bring someone like that in.
You got the Joker being like, where is he? Oh, he's over there. I'll get him the ball. That's a wide open 3. Oh,
God.
Like
the looks he would get.
There's a layup, right? Yeah. But that's what happens. There's not money necessarily for him on that. That's where it gets into it.
Okay, real quick fact of Fentress before you got to go. All right, Dylan. I'm gonna say it, man. The Kyrie thing got me rolling this morning. I think the Blazers are gonna make the play-in. I think they're gonna get Aiden back. I think they're gonna pull off a couple upsets. I think they're gonna get some wins against some of these good teams because they're gonna sit some guys. I think they're gonna win and I think Dallas is gonna free fall, and then Phoenix isn't good. I think the Blazers are gonna get number 10. I truly do. Partly by default and partly because they're going to pull off a couple upsets.
Well, I'm going to say that's a Fentress because I'm sticking with it ain't going to happen. But I'm much more of a believer today.
You don't think they're going to catch Dallas?
I do not. Or the Suns. Like one of those 2 teams will beat them out.
Suns are a mess.
But they're still better than the Blazers.
They lost 11. No, they're not. They lost 11 out of 14, and that stretch began losing 2 at the Blazers.
Right, but you just said it out loud.
They can't match up with the Blazers. They can't match up with the Blazers.
Well, that might be true, but the Blazers are not beating a winning team in a month.
Right, but they beat the Suns twice.
And they're about to play a bunch of them.
All better than the Suns. I'm just telling you, man, Suns are bad.
I'm just saying one of those 2 teams is going to do something.
If I'm the Suns, why am I trying to make the plan? I'm going to get torched.
Well, if they start,
there you go. Playing. That's going to happen. They'd be full. Did they own their pick? Oh, they might not own their pick.
Yeah, I don't think they own their pick
because I think they gave 1,000 picks
until like 29.
Anyway, regardless, they're bad. It's not going to happen. All right. That's it for the Blazer Focus podcast.
That's bold, by the
Kyrie
way.
Irving.
That's bold. Give
I
it
don't
up.
think it's that
Fentress went
bold.
He went bold.
I waited for a team to lose their best player. Actually, they've lost their two best players, and then one of the guys they traded for got hurt, and then their best center got hurt. They may be in and out of the lineup. That's not bold. To me, that's just absolute fact. This is fact or fact, not a fact or Fentress. Anyway, thanks for listening to the Blazer Focus podcast. We'll be back next week when Craig says, "I told you so," after the Blazers lose 4 straight.